All right, more record. All right, good morning. What I'm going to do is spend about 10 or 15 minutes going over the first test. You've got the rest of the day to work on it. The test is due by midnight tonight. And just in case you're having any kind of problems with Git and or GitHub, I'm going to show you another way that just for the first test, you'll be able to turn your homework in. And I'll show you that in just a bit. All right. So as it says, we're first going to go over the instructions for the test. All right, I am taping right now. I will put this tape out on YouTube. All right, if it's 15 minutes, then the tape will be out there around 8:30 or so. All right, I did attach the test to the email that you've got this morning. All right, you've got again till basically midnight tonight to get it turned in. Now, I'm going to be online all day. All right. I do have a mandatory, I'm part of the Rankin Technical College Information Technology Department, and we have meetings on various Thursdays. And our boss, Evan from St. Louis, set up a meeting for today from 12. It may be done by 12:30, but I just put 12:45 just in case. So during that time, I can look at your emails, but I'm not going to be able to answer them. I have because I'm part of that meeting. All right. So again, the first hot, the one we're going to go over right now, is due by midnight tonight. And your chapters 1, 2, and 3 written test and homework, there really are no labs for 1, 2, and 3. So the written tests, which we went over in class earlier, the homework, which we went over in class earlier, are both due by midnight Sunday. All right. So with that said, let's take a quick look at the test here. There are 3 problems on the test. The first one is a console app. The second 2 are GUI apps or graphical user interface apps. All right. So you are to write a C# console program, name it hot1-t-shirts console, that basically does this. So when you run it, it should ask the user to enter their name. So if they put in John Doe and hit enter, it should ask you to enter your address. If you put in 25 Rankin Lane and hit enter, it should ask for the city. If you put in St. Louis and hit enter, it'll ask for the state. If you put in Mo and hit enter, it'll ask for the zip code 633 or 63113 and hit enter. It'll say how many t-shirts do you want. The program will still blow up if you leave that blank or put a non-numeric value in there. But supposing you put in 5, then the program should print out this receipt. Now, think about this. Each t-shirt is $14.99. You are supposed to set that up as a constant. You can literally drop that line of code in there. All right. But really, what I should have done, all right, is I should have made this uppercase. I didn't because I was foolish. All right. But I should have done it like that. So use a constant like, make it loops like this. And the reason for that is if you don't, it's okay. But it's pretty much standard practice in C# that constants are all uppercase. All right. So the 1499 times 5 is going to give you the 7495. We're going to assume there is an 8% tax rate. So it says use a constant. So you'll want to do something like const decimal tax rate equals 0.08, which is 8%. All right. So 1499 times 5 is going to give you the total. 7495 times 0.08 is going to give you the tax. Adding the two together, you'll get this. That's it. All right. And I'll even show you, here is my version of that, which is going to look basically identical. So enter your name, John Doe, street address, 25 Rankin Lane, city, St. Louis, state, Missouri, zip code 63113. How many t-shirts do you want to order? 5. And there is everything. The receipt, the name followed by the address, then concatenated together on the same line, the city, state, zip, the number of t-shirts you ordered at that price, the total, the tax, and the amount due. All right. So that is the first one of the 3 that you are supposed to do. Then, secondly, you are asked to basically recreate that, but recreate it as a GUI app. All right, so let's take a quick look at that. Oh, first, this is the rubric. So if you followed all of the requirements, what do I mean by the requirements? When you run the program, it should look like this. You can put your own values in there, but it should say exactly what this says. There's a couple blank lines here. It should have this set up with a blank line, another this setup with a blank line, and the rest of this. All right, these are your requirements. So imagine that this is your customer who has asked you to create this. So it should look as much like this as possible. If you follow all the requirements, if your program runs with no errors or warnings, you're awarded 10 points. If you provide the correct math results. So for instance, saying that 5 shirts at $14.99 gives you this, and this times 8% gives you this, and these two added together give you this, that's 5 points. All right, setting up the output in the way that's shown right here. The output is this. These are your inputs. This is your output area. That's 5 points. The program displays money in a correct format using a format string. So you want to format that in a toString with currency or C. And finally, it displays the output in the format that matches what's shown here. So that's right there. That is 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 points. Then you are to rewrite this as a GUI app. You'll notice in here, and I didn't do it, but I want to say this to you, these fields here, the subtotal, the taxable total, and the grand total, those fields, all right, well, I guess it won't let me highlight them. Those bottom 3, those should all be read-only fields. All right, so you should be able to put something in for name, address, city, state, zip, number of t-shirts, but these last 3 should be read-only. All right, the calculate button should work, and it should also be set as your accept button. The clear button should work, and it should also be set as your cancel button. You should have a tab order like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. You should have your Windows start location set to center screen. So you'll notice this is very similar to what you just saw above. What has been added is that the program sets the top to bottom tab order that I just mentioned to you, sets the accept button to calculate, all right, sets the cancel button to clear, sets the start position to center screen. Now notice it also says the controls are given names following conventions. What does that mean? That means that these text boxes should be named something like TXT name, TXT address, TXT city, etc. These labels should be LBL name, LBL address, LBL city, etc. The button should be BTN calculate, BTN clear, and BTN exit. All right. The form should be renamed. Since this is a t-shirt GUI program, rename the form to something like FRM lowercase, and then t-shirts or something along those lines. All right, and the text for your form should be up like this: T-shirt GUI C# program. All right, so again, showing you my copy. If I come in now and run this, is that the right startup? So it looks like this again, John Doe, same stuff we had before, 25 Rankin Lane, St. Louis, Missouri, 63113 and 5. Again, notice I have made these last three fields are all read only. I'd like you to do the same thing, please. Now I'm going to leave the cursor right there so you can see it. There it is. I can click the calculate button, or because of the fact that I have set the accept button, I can also hit enter. All right. Now to clear, I can click the clear button, or I can hit the escape key, and you'll notice that everything works. So you should put the right code in here, and in here. All right. And then finally, for the last problem that's in here, this is very similar to the one I did yesterday in the pretest, but in the pretest, it was feet to yards. Now it's inches to centimeters. So it's another GUI-based program. You're told what to call it. Again, as it says, it converts distances between centimeters, I'm sorry, between inches and centimeters. You need a constant in there. So again, you'll say something like const decimal cm per in equal 2.54. All right. Very simple interface with a label, a text box, three buttons, and another label. This label should be empty initially. All right. When you put a number in there and you click convert, you should get a message like this. So if 2 was your input, it should say this, 2 inches is 5.08 centimeters. If it was 1, it would say 1 inches is 2.54 centimeters. You can see again that the grading scale is set up virtually identically to what you just saw with the previous program. Again, when I say you follow all requirements, what that means is you name it correctly. All right. Again, you follow the conventions. So this would be something like LBL distance in inches, TXT distance in inches, BTN convert, BTN clear, BTN exit. And this might be like LBL answer or something like that. All right. So you follow all the requirements and the program runs correctly, 5 points. Your math is correct. In other words, you can take whatever is in here, multiply it by 2.54 and get the right answer. That's 5 points. The output is displayed looking like this. So the number that you put in here, followed by the word inches, is whatever you converted it to 2 decimal places, space, centimeters. All right. Now where it says display money, it's not a money. So it should just say displays in a correct format using a format string. Sorry about that. The wonders of copy and paste. So I screwed up there. All right. It displays output as shown. It sets the tab order. So again, the tab order probably will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That really wouldn't matter. You set the accept button to BTN convert, the cancel button to BTN clear, the start position to center screen. And again, as already mentioned, all right, the controls are given the names that are shown. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 here, which makes 70. 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 here. Total makes 100 points possible. For this last one, just so you can see it, if I bring up the converter and run that one, all right, so again, if I put in 2 for the number of inches and I hit the enter key, all right, I can clear this way. I can put in 1 and click the calculate button. All right, to clear, I can either click the button or hit escape. All right, that's about all I can tell you. Now, just so you know, next week, all right, if everyone has taken the test, all right, and I've got all of them where I can grade all of them in the class, then on Monday I'll go over my test with you, all right, and show you what I did. If one or more people completed the test, I won't do that until they have. All right. Next week, we will go over chapters 4 and 5. If there's time, we may also go over chapter 6. Finally, let's suppose that you've been trying really hard and you're just totally confused as far as Git and GitHub and whatever. All right. Well, I made a copy here and I've got this thing I just called a t-shirt right there. All right. Now you wouldn't call it that, but if you made a folder, your own folder today that you called HOT followed by your name. So if your name is John Doe, it would be Hot John Doe. If you want to do that, that's okay. All right. Then you can come in here. And if you want, with that, you could right mouse click in here, do your git bash and go through all of your steps. All right. So in other words, you could do a git init, a git add dot, a git commit -m with a commit, and then push it. Well, let's say you tried doing all that stuff. You tried doing everything that's in there and it just doesn't work. You've tried and you're going nuts because it just doesn't work. Then if that's the case, take your folder like this, right mouse click on it, and go to send to, you should have that on there, and compressed folder. That will make a copy of what you just did, but it'll be a zip folder. Then, and you'll notice if I look at the size, this is small. Mine is only about a couple hundred K. So if that's the case, then email me the zipped copy. Email me the zipped copy. If you have any doubts as to whether or not I can see, either if you do it like this, or if you do put it out on GitHub, all right, and you're like, gee, can you see this? I've already had a couple students in the class who went out, created everything. They didn't do the test, but they took their payroll app or the invoice total or something and just put it out there in their GitHub repository and sent me an invite. All right, I received those. But if you have any doubt, once you turn in your test, all right, and you either do it like this where you email me the zipped, or you put it out on GitHub. All right, if you have any doubt as to whether or not I can see it, send me an email and say, hey, I just put my test out there. Can you see it? I will then look as soon as I possibly can, and I will let you know one way or the other. So unless anybody has any questions, that's what I had for today. Are there any questions? All right, then good luck. I will talk to you on Monday. Have a nice weekend. I'll see you then. Thanks.